In this video, I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of this bad boy, which is the Raynox DCR-250. Hello, my name is Stewart Wood and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, then click the subscribe button so you don't miss any free content. Now this video is one that's been requested multiple times over the last several months from my subscriber base, and that is to do a review of the Raynox DCR-250 Super Macro Conversion Lens. Now this is a product I skipped originally because as photographers we are told that the more glass that's in front of our sensor, the less sharpness you will get. So I skipped this because it's an adapter that goes on the front of your lens. Well, a lot of people have messaged me saying, can you do a review? A lot of people have said this is good, you should look at it. So I am finally purchased one. And we're going to take a look at this. More interestingly is I want to know what's it like on my Nifty 50. But the question I got asked that got me interested in this and to actually purchase it was, what happens if you put it onto a dedicated macro lens? Does it improve it or does it degrade the image? We're going to find that out as well. And also, can you fit a trim macro flash onto this conversion lens? We're going to find all of that out in this video. So let me just jump in here and apologise for the poor lighting on this unboxing section of the video. This was filmed before I started using the fill light, which is over here to my right hand side. Anyway, back to the unboxing. So let's get this unboxed. And as always, there's a link down below where you can purchase this from. They are affiliate links, but they do help out the channel. You don't pay any extra. From your point of view, nothing is changed, but we get a little bit of a kickback to the channel to help us grow. And yeah, so we've got a very nice carry case that will go straight into a camera bag. A hard case there. I'll actually like that. Do we need the instructions? No, it's not. We're photographers, we know how to use this stuff. Alright, so in here we have the adapter. That's what goes onto the front of your lens. Let's get this out. Okay, so it's simply a little clip-on adapter. So this conversion lens will fit onto a 52mm to a 67mm thread. So it will go onto my macro one and it will go onto my Nifty 50. Okay, so that's that part. And then we have the second part, which is the lens itself. Okay, so here is the lens. Pop it off. There you go. You can see there that it's literally just like a magnifying glass that slots into the front of that adapter, which then clips onto the front of your lens. You can see there, nice little magnifying glass. So the conversion lens also has a thread of its own on the front, and it's a 49mm thread. So to get my twin macro flash on it, I will need to use a step up ring. So we're going to step it up to maybe the size of the 50, which is the 52mm. So we're going to go from 49 to 52. I will show you that when we do the shoot on the macro table. Oh, so it doesn't clip. I thought it clipped over the lens, but it doesn't. It actually goes inside the filter thread and then grips it, and that is a very good grip. I think we will be able to get a trim macro flash on there. Okay, and then this little chap simply screws into, I should say, the front of that adapter. But there we go. Well, let's face it, we're not interested in none of this. We don't want to know about all this, do we? We want to know what it performs like. So I'm going to do several tests. We're going to use a test with the 50 with the extension tubes, and then I'm going to put it onto my macro lens and see how good it performs on that. So we need to get over to our macro bench. We need to get some spiders and some praying mantises out of their enclosures, and let's get this tested. So we're here on the macro table now. So we need a subject that we are all familiar with that we can use for this test. So for that, I'm going to be using a memory card. Put in just there. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of the memory card with just the 50mm. No extension tubes, nothing. We're going to just take a picture just to see what the image is from a 50mm. Then we're going to put the Raynox on here, and then I'm going to do the extension tubes and the Raynox, okay? When it comes to the lighting, I'm not doing anything special because we are just testing this conversion lens, okay? So let's get this conversion lens on here. So there's a couple of things I'm going to need to do. First thing I need to do is take off my trim macro flash head. So because this lens here is a 49mm thread, the trim macro flash won't fit on it out of the box. So we have to use one of these. This is a step-up ring, link in the description if you want a set of these. This one goes from 49mm to 52mm. So I'm going to put that onto the conversion lens, screw that in. We can then put the adapter onto our lens, put the conversion lens in. So now that's in there. The ring from my trim macro flash should screw straight onto up there. So that's one question answered. Can you use a trim macro flash with this adapter? And that is yes, you can. So I've just had to move the light up because you get a lot closer than I thought you would do. I'm going to move it to the end of the desk so we can get a better picture of it. That's a big difference, isn't it? Let's see what happens if we put extension tubes on. So we're going to go for the entire set. This is a full set of extension tubes onto the 50mm 1.8, the nifty 50. Okay, let's see what happens now. Oh God, I can't see nothing. Jesus. So that is some very impressive optics going on there. So on the 50mm f1.8, we've got a working distance of about 3 inches. Here are some example images using the Raynox DCR-250. So it appears that this conversion lens won't work with extension tubes unless you're in a studio environment. Because of the working distance, you're far too close to your subject and it will most likely fly away. So as we've seen so far, this Raynox DCR-250 conversion lens is very, very good. Potentially it could be a replacement for extension tube. But let's get on to the more fun thing. What happens if we put this thing onto a dedicated macro lens? Let's find out. So again, I'm going to test this out with the memory card. I'm going to throw the images up now. This is with the standard 100mm f2.8 LIS macro lens from Canon. And now this shot is with the Raynox DCR-250 conversion lens fitted to the 100mm lens. So as we can see, we can get a lot closer with this tool. So let's take a picture of our young jumping spider here and let's see what we can get. You can get super close with this setup. Downside is your working distance is very, very small. Almost to the point of not being practical out in the field. But as a tool for macro photographers who want to get into it, it's a fantastic tool. So my conclusion to the Raynox DCR-250 Super Macro Conversion Lens. Is it good? Would I buy it? The answer is yes, but only in the right circumstances. And those circumstances are, A, if you have a camera that has a fixed lens on it so you can't change your lenses. This is the perfect thing to get into macro photography. Again, if you can't change your lenses. If you're looking just to get it started in macro photography, you have a digital SLR that can change lenses, then I would still recommend you get the extension tubes and the nifty 50 for that. It's just far more versatile. You got more magnification with it. You do lose a lot of working distance. The working distance is going from this to this, which out in the field and you're photographing butterflies could make things a little bit difficult for you. But again, it's just something that you can just work at and get practice at and just get better at. I would only use it on a dedicated macro lens under circumstances when the conditions are perfect, so you can actually get close to the subject and get the shot you want. In most cases, if you're out in the field, like we will see later on this year, most subjects will fly away or jump away before you can get the shot using this on a dedicated macro lens. So that's for the people who wanted that answering. I wouldn't recommend it if you already have a dedicated macro lens. Let's talk about the positive and the negative of this Raynox. Let's talk about the negative first of all. Loss of working distance could be a big factor in the field if you are using a Raynox. My camera would get confused when using the Raynox. The exposure meter in my camera would get confused as to whether the correct exposure or not. I'm not too sure why. And also the TT on my flash would get confused as well. Again, I'm not too sure why. Unfortunately, you have a fixed magnification, unlike with extension tubes where you can get a variable magnification. It's an affordable adapter for any camera. It can convert a fixed lens camera into a macro camera, which is great. You don't appear to lose any light when using it, unlike you do with extension tubes. But overall, the lens is very clean, the optics are very clean and sharp, and that is fantastic. So to recap, this is a fantastic buy, particularly if you're just looking to get into macro photography and your camera has a fixed lens. If you have an SLR, I would still recommend for your first buy to get into macro photography extension tubes. If you already have extension tubes and you're doing macro photography, then this is again a good buy as an add-on to your kit. In certain circumstances, it's great. If you already have a dedicated macro lens, then you can skip this altogether because I can't see me using it that often because I have a dedicated macro lens. But for the beginner, it's a great buy. That's my review of the Raynox DCR-250 Super Macro Conversion Lens. Did you agree with my verdict? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I want to thank you for getting to the end of this video, and as always, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video.